Well, I went and spent a little money this morning. This is that 207 rake that I mentioned a few videos back. I think I mentioned it when I was mowing hay last weekend. This thing's been on Tractor House for well over a year. And I just, every once in a while, I just pop on there and check on it and see if it was still there. And I kept thinking, yeah, somebody's surely gonna buy it. Somebody's surely gonna buy it. And you know, it's kind of come to the point where I'm kind of wanting to retire that four-wheel rake, and this was still on there, so I was like, screw it, I guess I'm gonna have to be the one to buy it. So here she sits. Weather was kind of crappy. Well, it was crappy down here. You get about 20 miles north of here. It's nice, bright, sunny, happy, cheery. So this was at a little dealership called Pell's Equipment, or Pell's Equipment, I think, up in Fremont, Michigan. It's about 2.5 hours north of here. So a nice little drive. I always forget how beautiful this state is. You start getting up there a little ways and you start getting more forest, and it's just, Michigan's a really pretty state once you get further north. And it's probably one of the only states where you ask somebody if they're going on vacation, to say, yeah, we're going up north. I don't know if you go to anybody else or go to any other state in the union and hear somebody say, yeah, we're going to go up north for vacation. When we say north, it's northern lower peninsula up from the upper peninsula of Michigan. Just, it's beautiful. I love it up there. I need to get back up there sometime. But anyhow, hay rake. So I went up there this morning, got it bought. They were asking $950 for it. I was hoping they'd be a little bit more negotiable since they've had the thing for so dang long. I mean, they've had it long enough. I asked the guy, and he had to go look it up because he forgot they even had it. But they were asking $950. He came down to $875. You're not, at least in this area, like, to buy the equivalent New Holland 56 or 256, you're going to be well over $1,000 for something that's beat. So, and I mean, this one's, she's far from field ready. It's not going to take a whole lot, but she needs a little bit of work. So I don't think I did too terrible on it, and Oliver hay equipment, at least in this area, is not exactly falling off the truck. So I've been looking for one, and these 207s, the people you talk to that own them, they're supposed to be a pretty badass little rake. Super simple, no gearbox. It's open chain drive to a clutch and then shaft drive down. So there's no gearbox to worry about, no shaft seals to leak, no oil, no nothing. Offset axle, so it's going to follow ground contour nice. 5 bars are a lot easier on hay than 4 bars. And then, like the 4-wheel number 2 that I'm replacing, you're closer coupled. It's going to follow a lot better. You don't have to pull the stupid thing backwards down the road if you want to get anywhere in a hurry. So you're going to be more maneuverable in the field. They're better for double raking. They're better in odd shaped fields than 4-wheel rakes. I mean, 4-wheel rakes are incredibly gentle on hay. They are a really nice hay rake, except for when you're in odd shaped small fields or hills or anything, because they like tail whip. They don't hold side slopes that great because they're not all that heavy, and you got a little bit of weight you do have spread over 4 wheels. This is going to be a lot better rake for what I'm doing. So, but like I say, she does need a little bit of work. Both pans are, oh, it's sitting on the ground, sorry. The pans are a little loose. I already called, when I got home this afternoon, I called Floyd County and got a parts manual and an operator's manual coming for it. They have enough of these, I was able to get originals. So I got manuals coming for it. So I'll have parts diagrams and stuff so I can figure out exactly what's going on. But the pans are both a little loose. The reel bearings are actually fairly tight. So, and the tine bars are all straight. Everything, none of them appear to be broke. This universal joint is out. If I'm going to do that one, I might as well just do them both. that one's out. So I guess it's getting all 4 universal joints. I don't think whoever the original owner of this thing was knew what a grease gun was, judging by some of the wear patterns on it. I think she was abused a little bit. But you talk about simplicity, like all of the bearings on this thing are just collar lock flange bearings. The bearings are going to be super cheap, easy to get, easy to replace. It does need tires, because I don't trust these mismatched weather check things any further than I can throw them. The clutches, it's got clutches, or sprag clutches, one-way sprag clutches in the hubs, but the D clutch for the rake is actually this guy right here, and it's actually the rail that the clutch arm rides in is actually broke right here. So either gonna have to take this apart and braze it up, and or probably first thing I'll do when I get a parts book is get the part number for it and see if I can find a new old stock one. Would be nice. And replace that so that we can actually declutch it correctly. But the snap clutches and the hubs do work, because when I was moving it around I can hear them snapping. Need to go through and replace several bolts that are loose or incorrect. Need this counterbalance spring is broke, so might as well replace both of those. The counterbalance adjustment screws are both froze, so those will need freed up, which you'll have to do that to replace the springs. This makes me giggle. It never fails to amaze me how far farmers would go to avoid fixing something remotely decent. So okay guys, we got a cracked piece of flat iron right here. How about we gouge that out and weld it and then plate it. Now I got a bolt. Let's stuff the bolt to crack to fill the hole, weld that thing up. We gotta go. So gonna have to cut that apart and plate it and re-weld that and pretty it up. But serial number tag still on it. You can see right here, serial number 67425BR, model number 207. Or BR or BP? BP. Shield logo, so that puts this late 60s, early 70s. This would have been some of the last production to come out of Shelbyville before they killed the hay line and shut that plant down. So this is going to be, well, 207 was the last model rake Oliver introduced. Oliver had a number 1 4-wheel rake, which was actually kind of a cool rake. The ones that I've seen actually had a tedder gear in them, so it'd run the basket backwards and you could ted with it or rake with it. Then they had the number 2, which is what mine is. That one was rubber tired. I think the number 1 was a high wheel, had the big tall. You could either get it on steel or the big tall, super tall, like that wide grain drill tires. I've seen them both ways. Number 1 rakes are incredibly rare. I've only ever seen one, like real one. The only other one I've ever seen, or only other ones I've ever seen, are in like literature and pictures. And then they had the number 2 rake, which is what I have. That one would have come out late 40s, I think, post-war. And that hung on until early 60s. They built the number 2 forever. It went from skinny 21-inch tires to 750 15 implement tires, and they made some frame changes and stuff to give it more ground clearance. So the number 2 rake was built for a fairly long time. And then while they were building the number 2 rake, they also released the model 107, which was the first 5-bar rake. Or was the 107 a 4-bar? I've honestly never seen a 107 in person. The only ones I've ever seen are 207s in person. But the first, like, conventional, what we consider a hay rake, modern style hay rake, was a 107. And the 107 and the number 2 were built together for a period of time, and then the number 2 was canceled. And then the number 107 was replaced by this guy, the 207, which I think they beefed it up a little bit, changed a few things. So, and then the 207 was and carried out until White killed the hay line like a bunch of bastards. So this would be one of Shelbyville's last products before the plant shut down. And then in there too, they also had that 5-wheel pull-type wheel rake that I can't remember the model of offhand. Those things are scarce as hen's teeth too. And then Oliver also offered a 2-basket 3-point tedder, but it wasn't actually built by Oliver. I want to say it was like a FAR or something like it was built in Europe. Can't remember if it was Italy or Italian or German, but they just bought it and put their name on it. I've never seen one of those other than literature, and there's some that show up in some Growing O Show videos, but I've never seen one in person, so I don't know if they actually have how many of those were actually made and sold. So if you find one of them, pick it up, because they're probably one of a kind if you find one. So yeah, we gotta fix that weld, which it'll run without that. That's not a big thing, but get those universal joints fixed. Got some tines missing or bent or broken that need repaired, and I guess I'll ask, I'm guessing this is a standard mount or standard like hay rake tine mounting deal. It's just got the hook on it with the bolt and then the cover plate. Will rubber, if anybody that's ever, maybe somebody's got one of these that's already been or that runs rubber mounted tines, or if anybody thinks that these look like roughly New Holland rake tines, can I replace, will rubber mounted tines fit this bolt or fit this mount style? Like obviously a rubber mounted tine is going to have the saddle that you just put the bolt through and it eliminates the hold down clip, but if I could convert this to rubber mounted tines, that would be ideal. That's what I'd like to do if possible. So, but have to replace some tines to get it field ready, because there's, like I say, there's some missing, bent, broken. The raise and lower does work, just I don't think this pin, oh, I guess that's not a pin, it can't be a pin, those are the trunnions. But it is about ready to let go, so that's going to need a little bit of work anyhow. Actually, what it looks like, that looks like that almost needs straightened out. Or no, this is bent right here. This whole thing right here is bent that way. It needs to come back over straight. These guys right here are bent. They need straightened out. This is your rod for your D-clutch, which I'm guessing there's a piece missing here. I would assume that there'd be a lever here that you'd throw, which I'll know more when I get the manual. And that would throw your fork to engage and disengage the rake from the tractor. That bolt needs replaced. These holes probably need to be plated and cleaned up. There's the same thing. It amazes me how guys will jump through hoops to not fix something correctly. This is gonna need taken care of. It looks like they ripped that hole out and then they did plate it, I'll give them that, but that's way too much plate and it's hitting stuff and interfering, and that whole thing right there just needs redone and cleaned up and made look nice. So she needs a little bit of work, but and there's probably a lot better 207s out there that I could have bought. But like I say, at least in this area, Oliver hay equipment's not exactly easy to find, and somebody's got to love the ugly ones, and might as well be me. So it's going to take a little bit to get it the way I want it, but it shouldn't take a whole lot to at least make it usable. So tires, universal joints, fix some broken stuff, and she should be good to go. Which, if I end up having to, or if I if this shaft has to come apart to fix that, which is going to have to regardless, might as well do both those bearings, because you got to take them apart anyhow. Which is that thing? Yeah, looks like this top cover's notched, so that throw out fork looks like it could probably stand to use a little attention. The clutch dogs in here are good though, because it'll snap over if you run the reel or the basket backwards, so the dogs in that clutch are good, so it'll run. So yeah, yet another project that I didn't need, but here we sit. But I really wanted to retire that 4-wheel rake, because it does a good job, but parts for number two rakes are scarce as hen's teeth to begin with, and parts are not easy to find. You almost need 2 rakes. You need one to use and one for parts to keep the one running, because finding new old stock parts for those rakes is basically impossible. Can't really find new rake teeth for them, and there's a couple that are broke, and if I keep running it, they're going to start breaking more. Before that rake goes all to hell, I want to retire it, semi-retire it, and then I can go through, fix it up decent, and then just play with it. My biggest fear on that number 2 is the bushings for the tine bars are so whopped out and oversized. I'm scared one of these days I'm going to break a tine bar and wad something up and then just ruin the rake, because if one of those things breaks and gets wadded up and you don't stop in time, it's going to make a mess. So this rake showed up to keep that rake from getting destroyed. So I guess Super 55's got a new toy. I have to figure out a jack for it. I don't know if these just had a foot that you sat down and backed up and it jacked the tongue up, or if these had some sort of actual like high lift jack or a screw jack, or what these had. So when I get the manual, I'll know that for sure. So it'll be a nice little upgrade once we get her up to snuff, that's for sure. So anyhow, I guess didn't mean to write this video to get that long, but here we sit. So I guess there's the new purchase. So I'm gonna go start or go get a load of 28 and start getting stuff ready to side dress tomorrow, because we need to jump on that. And hopefully we got some rain chances here at the beginning of the week. At least we did this morning when I looked, but that's always subject to change. We got Sunday. Well, maybe I should have. I shouldn't say that. I need to get side dressing. We got rain Tuesday night and Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday all look good. So hopefully, with any luck at all, I can drop more hay, or side dress tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, drop hay Thursday, probably side dress Friday and Saturday morning, and hopefully Sunday, hopefully rake Saturday, bale Sunday would be ideal. So side dressing and finishing up first cutting is going to be this week's project, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So I guess with that being said, if you made it this far into it, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.